Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Perone, and I'm a success coach and mindfulness trainer. And today we'll talk about mindfulness, some tools you can use. This is really basic on mindfulness. So if you spend a lot of time being mindful and meditating, then this might be just more of a one-on-one for you. But I'd like to start at the beginning and explain what mindfulness is. We might hear it, see articles, have an app on our phone, but really what is mindfulness and how can we use it for our well-being. So with that, I'm going to share my screen, and you have a handout as well wherever you got this link. So this is the handout that goes with it. So this is a summary of everything I'm going to talk about today. Basically, the benefits of being mindful include, greater self-awareness, making better choices, reducing our stress, improving our attention span, making us physically healthier, also more compassion and happiness. And really, what is mindfulness, you might ask, is mindfulness is being aware of the present moment and observing it non-judgmentally. So we think we're doing that all the time, but really we're judging and labeling and for whatever's happening in the moment. But then in addition to that, we are lost in our thoughts about what just happened or what happened yesterday or any regrets that we have, and lost in our thoughts about the future, what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's why the uncertainty is particularly upsetting to most people, is because we're thinking about the future, we're trying to plan, we're trying to attack our D's as best as possible. So we're not often in the present moment, lost in our thoughts, and very rarely are we in the present moment. When we are, we might be judging it, good, bad, labeling it, categorizing it. What does it mean in our lives, rather than just observing it and being present in the moment? So it's simple, but it's hard to do. But there are a lot of benefits when we train our mind to come back to the present moment more often. So with that, I'm going to focus on the key aspects, and then I'll talk about some mindfully approaching certain events in your life to exercise your mindful capacity. So the key aspects, I'm going to run through this list in the center and just move my screen forward here. There we go. Beginner's mind. So this is a concept of, looking at things with fresh eyes. You know, we live in a culture that really appreciates wisdom and knowledge and expertise and experience. So it's really like we can walk through life thinking, been there, done that, oh, sure, whatever, seen that before. And in some ways, that can make us a little jaded and not looking at things in the moment with awe and wonder because we're too busy. We're too busy in our lives. It's like, oh, that's a small thing. Well, sometimes the small things are really big things in life, and you can increase your joy and reduce your stress when you use beginner's mind to approach certain things that may be happening. So it might be something really beautiful that you're seeing. It might be something that is novel and new. It might be something that you should approach with fresh eyes rather than, oh, I've seen this before. We can label situations and people. So do think about cultivating that in your life. Beginner's mind is about looking at the world with awe and wonder and taking moments to be mindful with beginner's mind. Getting curious. Yeah, sure, I know how this works. Oh, I wonder how this works. So turn it into wonder. Curiosity is an aspect of beginner's mind. Non-judgment seems like a simple thing, but it's huge. We're judging all the time, all the time. So really, if you think about it, we're judging people, places, people's decisions, what's happening, our workplace, elements of what's happening in the world, all of it surrounded all the time. And one exercise you can do is think to yourself how, um, you know, take 30 minutes. How often are you judging? Judging things, catch yourself judging things. You'll see in a 30-minute time period, you're judging a whole lot of things. So learning to when you can judge and when you don't have to judge is really important, kind of deciding. There's some things you don't have to place judgment on, but our brain thinks we do. So we just tell our brain, we don't have to judge everything. Acceptance, accepting life as it comes to us, accepting what is. We want things to go a certain way, but sometimes they're not our way. And so when we move into acceptance, it's not saying that, oh, this is wonderful. It's just saying it is what it is. And I know that so many of us have done this recently, adapting and pivoting, so really accepting what is and saying, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? So acceptance can really free you from the stress of resistance. Acceptance is a mindful quality. The next is patience. They're very difficult. We live in a very busy world with lots of complexity and lots of pressures. But patience is a quality of mindfulness, allowing things to unfold in their own time, not necessarily on your time frame. And so this is subtle and it's something we all know about, but it's so hard to do, but it is a mindful quality. Trust, also a mindful quality. We experience joy when we learn to trust. So we can trust that things will work out, or we can worry that things won't work out. And if you assess your own mindset, you might find that you think more often about, I hope this doesn't go wrong, or I hope things don't fall apart. I'd like you to switch that to, I trust that things will go okay. I'll do my part, but I'll trust that things will go okay. And so sometimes our culture makes this seem naive, but really it's not naive so much as it is using your imagination for your good rather than your detriment. Because it really doesn't help us when we just worry all the time that things won't go right. And then we go, oh, now I'm so happy when things went right. I didn't want to be disappointed. Well, we can add an awful lot of stress to ourselves when we walk around thinking the worst so that we're not disappointed. Letting go, right? So this beautiful picture of this woman letting balloons go. It's probably not that you need to let balloons go, but what you need to do is there are things in your life we need to let go of, right? We need to let go of maybe grudges. We need to forgive. We might need to let go of something literal, like too much clutter in our homes. Concept of letting go is extremely mindful. We're putting something out in the world, or we're letting go of a feeling, a negative feeling that only ends up hurting us. So most people say to me, oh, I know I need to let go, but how? Well, if you know you need to let go of some things, literal or figurative, you can very much be assured that you are about 75 to 80% there. It's really just the final stages of actually doing it, letting go. And when it comes to those emotional things that we let go, sometimes it's a more work, but really we do it for ourselves to lighten our own burdens and know that life is going the way it is. This goes hand in hand with acceptance that you might change things if you could, but you can't. So it is what it is. Compassion. Compassion is wanting to alleviate someone else's suffering. And we've seen an awful lot of that lately, knowing that people are hurting, that we're having, a troubled year, and that there's been a lot of extra stress. So people have been very compassionate, donating more, helping each other, checking in on neighbors. And so compassion is that growing your heartfulness. You're wanting other people to not suffer, but then also realizing that they're just like you. So sometimes we can have compassion for people who are really aggravating us because they really are just like us. They may be going about it differently than we would, and that's what's aggravating. They may be operating differently, but part of the letting go and the acceptance is that we still wish that others wouldn't suffer. So when it comes to tools for mindful moments in your life, mindful eating can be a great mindful experience. Don't multitask all the time when you're eating. Believe me, I do it too. I'm reading an article or I'm looking at my emails and I'm eating my salad. But really, sometimes you can just take a moment to fully appreciate the food you're eating, textures, flavors, and even where the food may have come from. And in quiet, alone, paying attention to your food. It sounds like torture, doesn't it? But give it a try. This is how we can grow some mindfulness in being fully in the present moment, which is good for our brain. Studies show it's good for our brain. So trust me. Mindful parenting is actually being present. And I know that it's very, very hard in this world with so many responsibilities to be fully present. So, but mindful parenting would be truly, truly tuned in, not, yes, hi, how are you? Or even in families, right? We're all looking at our phones while we're talking and half listening. So being fully present with another human being in your. Mindful listening is listening so that you might be able to repeat it back. And here is the picture of the cell phone conversation, feeling like you're not being listened to. So people do want to be listened to and heard, and it's much nicer experience. So mindful listening or deep listening is listening to be able to rephrase it back to that person. Not that you'll have to, but you're just listening to take it in, not to decide how you're going to respond, or not just to get past this moment of listening to someone. Mindful work is single tasking. So just to look at your mindful work, a lot of times we're juggling many things, but there are moments of mindful moments at work where you're focused on one task for the person in front of you. Minding the gap, we can use apps and reminders, wristbands to remind us to be mindful, walking through doorways, there's a conference door room there, or an app to just take a mindful moment, put it on your calendar for a reminder to just breathe. Maybe it's just as simple as breathing, inhaling and exhaling for a few minutes, pausing and letting your mind settle. An easy mindful meditation that you can do all on your own is ABCD. So A is the anchor in your chair. You see a picture of the gentleman here sitting in the chair. B is your breath. So you just focus on the inhales and the exhales. Count each round, 1 to 10. Just comfortably breathing, not fast, just naturally. Any distraction you hear, any thought that you have that distracts you from your breath, just begin again. Just you can thank it. Thank it for the exercise of coming back from thoughts, coming back from distractions. That is really the exercise. And if the counting in and of itself becomes a distraction, you can just switch to inhale, exhale, the words, or really just focusing intently on the breath. Again, if you get distracted, come right back. That's the exercise. It's not, oh, I must not be good at this. No, that's what the exercise that you're doing is to be able to come back from thoughts. So with that, I'd like to thank you. I know I went really quickly. Always happy to engage with you. So if you have questions, you can call or email me. And this has been a mindfulness tools you can use. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much.